All right, guys, welcome to Astrology and Alchemy. It's Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You are looking at me back from having been outside all weekend, being at the lake, and I feel like I'm still kind of coming back from it. My hair's all frizzy, being out camping, which is really fun. I live here in northern Minnesota, so being able to go as far north as almost Canada into the international boundary waters is really fun, and go bow fishing and just do some things that you only really get to do in Minnesota a little bit. But I am waiting for Matthew to join me. He was actually here before me in the studio talking about how there were some glitches in some of the things. And there are indeed some things that just are not present. So for those of you joining us, usually you might notice that the format, the template looks a little different. And if it is not sounding ideal, please let us know. Matt is restarting his space and will join us here shortly. But it is live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so we wanted to be able to honor, for those of you joining us, thank you so much. We have all sorts of cool people in the chat room. Samantha, good to see you. A familiar face, some new faces as well. Welcome. Be sure and let us know where you are joining us from in the chat room. If you are joining us live on YouTube, or through the Astrology and Alchemy Facebook, or through the Paranormal channel, or through Subspace Radio, or Odyssey Radio, or whether or not you're a future time traveler from a time elsewhere, I don't know, beyond, in a time, I almost went into Star Trek there for a second. But yeah, I'm so thankful that you guys are joining us this evening, because it's always fun to have some additional voices and energies in the chat room. And we love all of your additional thoughts and predictions that we get to add to. And if you've joined us here before, you know, this is an opportunity to validate your own intuition. This is an opportunity for you to get out a piece of paper right now and put down the next 7 days. If you have a journal like me, this is how you know I'm a Virgo. I keep a journal, and it breaks it down monthly, yearly, and daily. And I like to be organized in that sense of my goals, and actually writing it down and doing that air magic, doing that ritual of journaling is so important. I believe it. Potential to kinetic energy is where a lot of that magic is. So get out a piece of paper, text yourself, email it right now. I also have an Excel spreadsheet that, if you are one of my Gypsy Tribe members that joins me for weekly check-ins and fine-tuned intuitive individual mentorship over intuitive growth, you have access to my Excel spreadsheet. And you see that I go through these, and I kind of, I don't want to say girth it up, but girth it up. Like you add things to it, and you kind of create more of, not expectation, but more awareness of the time. So today, guys, is a moon waxing in Leo. And that's really the only thing happening today, post new moon vibes. If you haven't felt kind of that shift in energy, good for you, because I know I sure have. Look at me. Look at how tired I am. This is me completely tired, no makeup, having been outside, and just, you know what I mean? Just tired and exhausted. And that's okay, because sometimes it's good to get to that point. The new moon and full moon for me always means I go out foraging. Means that I try and clean a big part of my house, try and do some ritualistic cleaning, changing the sheets, dusting the things, opening the windows, doing saging, getting my incense going, putting my peppermint at the doorstep. I will usually get some kind of like a rotisserie chicken, or bake a bread, or get something going that's going to be some kind of a family-oriented meal. Make my protein shakes. That one's got coffee in it. Yum, yum, yum. And prepare and actually look at what that energy is. And it's been a new moon in Cancer. So, and a lot of astrologers were kind of talking about this one in particular, lining up with certain eclipses, and just being a really powerful space for change, personal transformation, feelings and emotions growing, building, blossoming, and completely new transformation, gratitude, divination of what are you proud of? We had shared last week, leader of the pack was kind of what I was singing along to that. And to be honest, guys, that is kind of maybe how I would still feel about some of that energy that we should expect to see throughout the week. So I'm nervous to move on without Matthew. I usually absolutely need him. There he is.
You say,
There he
hopefully I'm
is.
here.
Ah, I clicked over and was
I
like,
don't
there
know
he
how long
is.
it's gonna. I don't know how long it's gonna last. It's acting really weird tonight. I usually don't
Man.
have. I usually don't have these kind of problems.
Well, we needed you. I needed you. So good. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So Wednesday, guys, that's tomorrow. Nothing. No astrological major movements are happening. So Wednesday is kind of a calm rest after this new moon shifting. How did you feel, Matt, about the new moon in Cancer? What do you kind of feel or think, for the changes happening in and around that space?
So Cancer cycle. So this is all about security, and so I like Cancer season. So yeah, but it's family oriented and security oriented and cardinal signs, the first sign of summer. So it drives things. Although if you think of how a crab moves side to side to go forward, so they're not going to charge straight at you like an Aries might. It's more we're going to move things. I feel like out of the four cardinal signs, Aries and Capricorn are more direct, and Libra and Cancer are more subtle in driving their agendas. But all four signs are cardinal signs, so they drive what they want.
I'm always thinking of that little crab moving across the beach with his shell, and how there was a National Geographic picture of it wasn't a shell, it was a piece of garbage, but it was like a snack pack shell with the trash still on it, and the little crab was all wrapped up in it, using it like a shell. It was such just a wild picture to see.
Did you ever see the crab smoking?
No, I've seen the one with the knife.
Yeah, there's one with a cigarette, and it's like going back and forth with a cigarette.
It's wild.
It's interesting.
I love it. Man, I don't know what I would do if I saw that, by the way. I think I would have a little bit of a moment. So for tomorrow, guys, for Wednesday, just allow those adjustments. No major astrological movements to look forward to, so we don't have to get cray. However, Thursday, I cannot say the same for Thursday. 1, 2, 3 major things happening on Thursday, July 20th. And the first one makes me a little nervous, just a little nervous. Lost the love of my life on Wednesday. Tell me something good. Oh, Rhonda, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's horrible.
Very sorry.
Yeah, so sorry. I mean, what do you say to that? Yeah, we'll try and extract something good. What can we from that? Here we go. The first thing of the 3 things happening on Thursday this week is that the sun will be in Cancer, trine, and there it is, the thing that makes me a little nervous. Neptune in Pisces. Nope, it's always that social services moment where people freak out. It always is. So what do you have to say about that space?
But I think when Neptune finally moves, I think Neptune in Aries gives me more heartburn. So trine is like synergy, and so I guess I got to stand up a little bit. The banner is like right over my mouth. So we already had, Sun and Cancer. We already talked about that. It's security. It's home and security oriented. Synergy, Neptune and Pisces. So that is very Neptune's dreams, but it's also going to be misreading things, deception. Pisces is very introspective. And so this is kind of, as you had said, kind of the going down that psychological wormhole, and it can be substance abuse. It can be, so this is kind of your misreading things that might make you feel secure, or possibly even misreading your family situation. And so this is I don't know what the next 2 are going to be, because I never look ahead, but this is an energy for a lot of missteps. So there's that Cancer energy of moving forward by going side to side. You may be moving forward based on bad information, because that's kind of the Neptune and Pisces vibe, is what you think's going on is not. So,
And that's so true. That's why I don't love it. That's why when I see Neptune and Pisces, I get like, oh no. And then you add Cancer onto it, that water on water on water on water. And then it makes me feel like somebody.
I'm going to interrupt too real quick. 1025, go back and replay this, folks, on here. I swear there's a third voice.
What did it say?
I don't know. It sounded like another woman's voice, just kind of like humming. It was weird.
Ooh.
It definitely wasn't in my house. It's weird. So go back.
Gosh, dang it.
Folks, on this end, it's like around, at least on our little live meter, it would have been around like 10:30, 10:35. It sounded like we had a third voice on here.
Dang, don't do that to me. Okay, it's fine.
Samantha may have heard it too. I
For sure.
It's her same. Yeah, there was like a humming, a woman humming. It was weird.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt your train of thought.
No, I so appreciate getting those voices coming through. So thank you to whatever spirits are here. Man, keep it cool. Let's keep moving. So further Thursday events. And this is one of those, you guys, whenever you get readings and we break down those birth charts for you, understanding what your moon is in. I always get a little excited and go, woo, woo. Because for me, this is that moon phase for me is in Virgo. And so Thursday, the moon will be waxing into Virgo. It's just kind of a small movement, but growing feelings of what? When you think Virgo, what are the words you use?
Yeah, this is details. Well, first of all, whenever the moon is in your home sign, in your moon sign for the month, those are kind of like your power days. So this will be the beginning of Sarah's power days here. Virgo, I always think of details. I's dotted, T's crossed, particular analytical, need to know details. So this is interesting because you're probably going to want to know details based on potentially bad information. Hey, Dee, happy to have you on. Yeah, so I see this as, potential to emotionally, you're going to want the facts, but you're probably this could be a good thing because you want the facts to validate that Cancer trying Neptune movement you want to do. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was that buzzing that I thought was somebody talking. So that just to debunk, that could be what I heard. But anyway, yeah, so this could be good to, kind of trust but verify on Thursday, because you're going to have some energy leaning towards making decisions based on bad information. So that moon in Virgo can kind of temper that or maybe offset that other energy. So it's weaker. The sun and Neptune are both stronger energies than the moon energy. So you're still going to have more power on that misreading something, but the moon in Virgo can offset some of that.
Little Earth. So now it's just muddy. I think of the swamps in the Neverending Story. No attacks. People, don't let the swamps of despair get you.
See, people are still hearing stuff. I don't think it's either of us. So I wonder what's going on.
And I've been hearing things in my house. Here we go.
I talked about it on Sunday night, but I had I guess it was like 2-3 weeks ago now. I had the lady in the white dress from like the early 1900s in my mirror walking behind me, which was like something right out of a horror movie. It was very, very weird.
But so cool at the same time, guys, right? Okay. The last thing to happen on Thursday night of these three things, which is why Thursday's a little bit busier than most. But Mars in Virgo, some additional Virgo, opposing Saturn and Pisces. I have it written down that this might be some betrayal or hidden enemies revealing themselves. What say you, Matthew?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because so Mars, again, it's that Virgo energy. So it's, details, and very specific. So I'd say this is very specific actions, but it's having tension with Saturn rules, but Pisces, I would say, is the last sign. It kind of has this self-sacrificial energy to it. So it's this tension between really wanting to act in a very specific way, with this almost willing to take one for the team. So it's interesting. It's kind of I view this more, even though Virgo I don't view as a very self-centered. I feel it's more detail energy. That opposition with Saturn and Pisces, I always view this as kind of tension between doing something for yourself, in this case very specific, to hit a goal, versus kind of taking one for the team, greater good. So it's almost view this as this trade-off between acting for a very specific self-interest that might be harmful to other people versus sacrificing that self-interest for the benefit of others. Hi, Katie. Hi, Chet. Happy to see you guys on.
I love seeing those people. Some of my favorite.
Yeah, so we're seeing other comments. It seems like everybody's got weird stuff going on. It started with the crash in here, and so we're hearing weird voices, and some folks are getting odd smells. And
get with it, guys.
Mary Beth's on here too. Yeah, this is good. We've got a lot of our regulars
our best regulars
are with us tonight. Dee, Ruth, Mary Beth.
Loving it. Okay, Saturday. Man, it's already got us to Saturday, which is crazy to think that. No, we got to do Friday.
Yeah, we got Friday.
We can't
miss
just
Friday. Wednesday was nothing, and then Thursday was really long.
Right, and then Friday. Only one thing is happening. Katie, Mary, Samantha, Ruth, Chet, Dee, write it down. Just one dot. This is what's happening. This is what's going down. If you're joining us in the chat, you get to see it. It's a little bit easier sometimes to visually see it there pop up. Sun in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. That Pluto movement. That's a big deal.
I love this because this is like my complete energy. As a Cap, this is like my complete energy. That's why I like Cancer, because it has like all the things I lack. So yeah, this is a good tension between. Again, Pluto doesn't. What I love about Pluto is Pluto doesn't give a crap, and so Pluto movements tend to be big. They tend to be less personal things, and I think more kind of macro scale type stuff. But it can also be your in your own personal life, and so I see this as Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn's achievement oriented. So, Pluto is, what big things need to change, what big movements need to go to be able to kind of climb that hill and reach that goal, versus Sun in Cancer. As I said before, it's kind of that homebody security energy. So it's kind of, I view this aspect as that tension between staying in your comfort zone versus striking out of your comfort zone to achieve something, and kind of striking outside the box. And so a very big tension between kind of what is secure versus what could kind of take you to that next level, climb up that next peak.
Wait, what song is it? Give me the song. Climbing to the top of the mountain. Get me to the next peak.
No, gosh, I'm not sure. You know more songs than I do, or at least you know more lyrics.
Well, man, I don't even know if I believe that, but there was something in my mind.
Yeah, you're a good lyric person.
It's going to hit me. There's a song playing in my head for sure. For sure. Anyway, this is exciting. I expect, man, every time that Pluto and Capricorn wiggles a little bit, wiggle. The Farmer's Almanac said evil will be revealed.
Ooh.
Right? What? I thought, how often does the Farmer's Almanac use those big words?
See, that's why sometimes, and I'm not like a pro at this or anything. I just kind of take my own insight into it. But some of these conclusions folks come up with, I wonder where
that came from.
Yeah, I would not see. I don't know. I guess maybe on the Pluto thing, but I don't see a.
I don't know. I don't
see Sun in Cancer. I mean, I can see if you have the Sun as bringing things to light, but I don't see Cancer as a very forthcoming sign. I see them, keeping more things to themselves, tight to the vest for their own security thing. I don't see that as I'd see more of an air sign as being one of the ones that would be just throwing stuff out there, shining light on things.
Speaking of shining a light on things. So many planets are retrograde in and out of these spaces lately. I feel like this is kind of a crazy thing. Saturday, 2 things happened, guys. Only 2 things. So let's take a macro step back. Let's see. D
Oh, and
says,
real
man,
quick to what D said about Friday should be interesting. Whenever Pluto's involved, I'd pay attention to like everything, news and things in your own personal life, because things that maybe seem small, but our changes could snowball into big things.
Big things, and be careful. Good things too. Don't let that Farmer's Almanac scare you.
I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off here, but I'm watching the chat. Samantha, I would say for health things, maybe not so much on the macro level. I would look on your personal chart, and we can always help on this too. But you want to look at like 6th house type things tend to be health.
Lots of solar flares, lots of bad air quality.
So yeah, if you have something going on in your 6th house right now, whether it's your birth chart, 6th house things aspecting current things, that's what I would look for on a physical health piece. Hope that makes sense. And Ruth wants to ask about the military. I'm sorry, I'm totally taking the chat.
No, I love it. I love having all the active questions coming
in. I'd say, Ruth, go ahead with the question and we'll work it in.
Yeah. Can I ask about military?
But, specific things, some of these things might be specific to your chart. We're talking about kind of the macro things here. So just my disclaimer on what we might be able to answer on somebody's personal question here. Go ahead, Sarah, go back to your...
Man, I've missed having you on the show last week. I just think about, this is the stuff that we missed, these little...
Last week, I had a lot. It was really good stuff I was doing, but we ended up running massively late and I never made it. So
no, I love it. Okay, Saturday, I've got 2 dots on the list. So here we go. Katie said, I just love the sign behind Matt's head. Again, if you're tuning in and just having the joys of listening, you don't get to see it, but he has an insane asylum entrance sign posted. He does a lot of Trans-Allegheny stuff and has some really crazy experiences and really cool places that, like, asylums. How many asylums do you think you have visited, Matt?
It's not so much the number, it's the amount of times I've been to certain ones. So, a true mental hospital, it's Trans-Allegheny, and then Pennhurst and Rolling Hills are kind of in that family, but they were a little bit of a different. Rolling Hills had a lot of different roles over the years, and then Pennhurst was more for like developmentally disabled children that we then obviously grow up to adults. So true asylum, I think it's only that one. Sadly, a lot of them have been knocked down.
I know. Don't even say it. I was going to say. So many I'd still like to go see. No. Okay. Rest in peace. Okay, Saturday.
I know somebody, and I found out after the fact that that the one in Philly was notorious for people coming. There's all kinds of YouTube videos on it. It's knocked down now. It's a housing development. But somebody I know very well, and I didn't find out till afterwards when they were in high school. I used to go into that place all the time. And so
trespassers.
I love picking their brain about what they found when they were touring around that place. But there were gangs in there and home, like it wasn't necessarily the safest place to go touring around in.
I think about how I probably shouldn't have lived through some of my trespassing days. So let's, just be thankful we all made it. Rhonda says, man, come to Louisville. I'll take you to Waverly.
I would love to go back. I did Waverly in...
It's been a while.
2008, I think, was when I was in Waverly. I've always wanted to get back. The way they do the booking's a little weird. So that one's hard to get. Like, that one's hard to, unless you're like on it real early. It was hard to get.
Yeah, or we know Tina or something. But man, I love that place. Rhonda, don't even tease me. We will be there. I will figure it out.
And answer Samantha, yes, the ground. I am sure those houses that were now built on the old Byberry property in Philly, I'm sure they got some activity going on.
Ooh, yeah.
As well as wherever those materials went, whether that's in a landfill or whether some of those materials got recycled somewhere, that energy can move. And so, sometimes if you got something going on in a location, it's not necessarily where it's at, but it could be the materials that were used in making it.
I like the Ruth finally had asked you that she lives near and on a military base and has just been experiencing a large amount of activity, wondering what's going on. Well, we do have a big, I mean, as far as like to keep it somewhat paranormal and astrological and alchemical and stuff, I think we are going to be having some huge discussions on a solar flare, like a big EMP burst, and then also that earthquake in Alaska that just happened, the 7.3, and the tsunami stuff of that nature, I think is stirring up some things. And then we have a UAP aliens. Congress is announcing the aliens stuff in just a week from now, which is, I just can't even, I'm so excited. I just can't even, I'm so excited. Who knows what it'll be? Could be nothing, could be everything. But I expect there to be just a little bit of activity around that. But who knows? There's all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, some people believe that we're, in World War III, right, Matt? Are we? Are we in World War III?
I don't think
We
so.
just haven't announced it. I don't think so.
I like the phrase. We used to think Russia was the second best army in the world, and now we know it's the second best army in Ukraine. So unless China kicks in, I don't think Russia's got the juice. A hell of a lot, and they're never gonna shoot nukes as much as they say it to freak us out. And I'd almost be at the point of, if you're gonna do it, I'd almost draw that line. That's how.
Take it to the limit. Yeah. Okay. Man, I messed up my computer. Oh no, I fixed it. Okay, good. Whew. When you drag the bar and it moves things, and then I was afraid it wasn't going to go back. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, guys, let's get focused. Saturday, if you're joining us astrologically speaking, and as you should every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, we allow ourselves to go through each and every day for the next 7 days, just a weekly breakdown, what to expect in the astrology and alchemy. And on Saturday, I think 2 things. What did I say? 2 things? 3 things?
It was 2.
2 things. 2 things. Yep. 2 things. Those 2 dots. The first one is this one. Venus goes retrograde. Oh! Retrograde in Leo. How do we feel about that? I don't like this. I don't like this either, okay.
Because I think, so I would say, Venus in Leo is romantically about kind of me. So it's, it's going to be very self-centered, and its energy. Leo likes attention. So this is going to be, romantically, people are going to want the attention on themselves. But since it is retrograde, I feel this is, puts the emphasis on kind of the negative aspects of that. So, whatever, people's narcissism level is, it's going to be amped up with this. So people that are very narcissistic are going to be even more so. And some people that aren't are going to be a little more than usual. So I see narcissism energy with Venus retrograde in Leo. If it would be direct, it could be a little more of just drawing attention to, making sure that you're being heard and your voice is being heard in a relationship. But the retrograde piece, I feel it's got a negative component to it.
I feel a sneeze coming on. I don't know, if that's a superstition or not. But politically speaking, on a macro basis, excuse me. There, I feel so much better though. That really was itching. Venus, she who rules money and art and sex and sensuality, dormant for rest, for a little bit more of the summer's dumpster fire. Not a good time to start a new fling. Not a good time this Saturday to go on that first date. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't effing do it.
This could just be some choppy, there just could be some choppy seas ahead for relationships with this energy because,
And you say choppy seas, I start thinking tsunamis again. Gosh dang it.
I don't know. I see people getting, that there's, speaking up and having your voice heard in a relationship. I feel this is like, there's going to be a nudge to speak up over things that aren't very constructive and maybe aren't fair.
Not fair. Makes me think of the labyrinth. It's not fair. That's right. It's not fair. It isn't fair.
And we'll try to get to some more of these questions too. It's just we want to make sure that we cover the week too.
Yep,
So
and we're almost done. It's Saturday, and we will keep moving. Let's do the next one. Saturday PM. Sun moving. Haven't been man, that kind of moved everything quick, didn't it? Sun enters Leo. Sun enters Leo. What do we think about that? Finally, it's moving out of the Cancer space, thank goodness, and moving into a fire pride, but more pride.
Yeah, so this is more. It's gonna sound worse than I mean it. It's just it's ego, but that can be, self-confidence and sticking up for yourself can be a positive thing too. So it's not necessarily all bad, but I feel like. I know these aren't the opposite signs of each other, but I almost view it as like the opposite of Pisces, where I feel like Pisces is all, I'll take one for the team. Leo is all, what's in it for me, kind of energy.
What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah.
We got a question on getting a job type of energy. I think, Venus is also the one for that. Where you look again in kind of your sixth house and 10th house. But
slower movement than we would
like.
The
fact that Venus is in retrograde and Venus, in addition to romance, is money. Yeah, I don't see good financial, just in general, the general energy is not good financially right now.
It just might be that you would love to, have that job and have it start out at the high point, and you're going to get the job, but it may not be at the high point, or that they might leave things hanging and you find yourself going, okay, well, I'd love to start as soon as possible. And they go, okay, great. We're going to get back to you. And it's actually not till after the drug test and the background check, and that's going to take a month. It's when I think retrograde, I think you aren't going to get that visual forward, easy peasy stuff. However, the ego, the narcissism, the Leo, that confidence and pride building is that you did get the thing, and now you just have to kind of keep still working for it to be seeing it and feeling it and having that, big sense of accomplishment.
I'm speaking really general here, but I view Venus retro in Leo in a job space. It's like getting a good job title. You're the VP of such and such, but the responsibilities don't change and your pay sucks. But you have something that looks impressive on paper, but the day-to-day reality of it is shitty. That's hey, but you're a VP.
Yeah. We have decided to eliminate your position and create a side position. It's a lateral thing. And, we're going to just have you move your office over there. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Or you're doing the same job, but now we'll give you, and I'm just, I'm just using generalities here, but we'll make you VP of the department, but we laid off the whole department. So you have to do all the work for the department. We're not giving you a raise, but hey, you're the VP.
We took your picture and put it on the wall. Yeah. Don't we love it? Don't you love it though?
Oh, field guy, you're not doomed. This won't last. I don't know. What is Venus? About 3 months it moves?
Yeah, it's not very long. Yeah, it's not that long.
As long as it doesn't do a weird, it is retrograde right now. That always makes it take longer, but
we're not doomed. It's just, I don't expect a whole lot of stuff till September. September is the next kind of movement of where it's going to really growth and blast off. And that's exciting. All right. Sunday. I believe I have 2 things to write down for Sunday. So put those dots on a piece of paper. Join us, if you will. This one I know we don't always talk about this. Chiron in astrology. It's supposed to represent your wounds, your core wound. I don't know if we buy that or not, but we'll put it in there just because I know that a lot of you following along are huge astrologers. And so we'll put it out there. What can you find? Chiron isn't always in all birth charts or things that you get broken down. And it's not necessarily that it's terribly important. But it is kind of a cool Greek story if you're into Greek heroes, Hercules, Achilles, all that kind of thing. And so it is something that our ancestors at some point have tracked. So knowing that it's retrograde, where is it? Where is it? It's not there. You can't see it. In Aries, another fire sign. Do you have anything to say on that, do you think?
I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, usually my process is that I write my notes and then you will divinely speak, Matthew, and say something that coincides with it. But I'll be a little suggestive ahead of time on this, that what I had written down was the wounded healer in the Greek story after Chiron will be nursing internal wounds that we need to be kind of focused on and to pick our battles and to choose that lightly, that Aries retrograde allows yourself to walk away from an uninevitable war that is also unwinnable. So to kind of just be aware of how to use your fire for good. And that's kind of a hard thing to do, I think, especially when you've been wounded. Your Achilles heel, your strength and your weakness. But Aries retrograde, I think, is a hard thing to describe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I take the retrograde piece of this as, if Chiron is how to heal your core wound, Aries is action, but the fact that it's retrograde, it's going to be misapplied. So it's like the thing that you think is going to help. I don't know, I'll just use an analogy. It's like that. I want to have the conversation to have closure to heal this wound, and then you have the conversation and it makes it a million times worse, and it didn't help you at all. You would have been better off just leaving it go, kind of thing. It's like that. It's whatever action you think will make it better will actually make it worse.
Man. What?
And I saw a lot of negative things like the world burning down. I'll just comment, and I know I'm the oddball here, but I'm actually fairly optimistic. I think a lot of people throw a lot of negative stuff out to scare people in order to give them power, and I'm totally against that. So
anti-fear.
I'm against the gloom and doom. We need Superman to come save us so I can take care of myself. So
yeah, not yet, Sherry. The world's not burning down yet.
We'll be fine.
We're going to make it. She'll shake us off like a bad set of fleas, right? Well, Sunday night. That's the last real movement that's happening Sunday night, and it's this. So I didn't put Sunday night ahead of it. We're just going to have to know, those of us looking ahead in the chat. Mercury in Leo. Oh, more Leo, more fire, the communication planet. Mercury in Leo squaring off with Uranus in Taurus. It's been in Uranus, and Taurus has been that way for a while. We should kind of be used to that cold space. Yep. But what do you think about that when you see that?
So I see Uranus and Taurus as rebelling by not doing. So it's, you're expected to do this and you're not going to do it as kind of your screw you rebelling. Square is conflict. So, you have this communication, I feel like advocating, being in conflict with wanting to rebel by not doing what you're supposed to do. So I view this almost as giving somebody lip service type energy. You're going to say you're going to do something and you're not going to do it. So beware of commitments people are making on Sunday, because there's probably going to be a lot of talk with no follow through on Sunday.
Oh, I got to write that down. Lip service commitments. That's a fun band name. Promises, and they're not going to be real.
Yep.
Moon. And the moon, I believe, at this point will be waxing. So we know that it's a waxing space. And this is the third thing happening on Sunday evening, Sunday PM, going into Monday. The moon is waxing into Libra. So for those of you who have the moon sign in your birth chart in Libra, the show day. And waxing is building feelings. But what say you about Libra, Matt?
Yeah. So other than these power days, these are like, 2 to 3 days, little spurts. So this is kind of fleeting energy, but it is emotionally in balance, not a lot of confrontation, diplomacy. But I always like to remind people, Libra is a cardinal sign. So it may appear to be, kind of passive and a pushover, but it's not. It actually tries to drive the train, but it just tries to do it through other people. And so I'd be aware of trying to be nudged by others to do things. Oh, Samantha, birth chart is where all the planets were and all their geometric relationships at the exact moment you were born, based on where you were at and the time you were born. And then there's all kinds of charts you can start basing that off of, but it's really kind of the first key chart to any type of personal reading.
I like to think of it as all of the star stuff in your body having a big galactic moment of deja vu when things align, similar to the day that it was when you were birthed onto the Earth side space, like bing, like the way that the movies and animation show it, like a ripple that's happening when you become an oxygen breather. So it breaks down just where everything was on that day. And then when those planets move into those spaces again, parts of your body really recognize and shift and due in part to that. It's really cool. Okay, Monday. Man, it's weird to say this, but Monday there are no major movements. So nothing really happening on Monday, which anytime that goes down, it's not always that common. I think, okay, we've kind of been panning out. We know that there's a lot of stuff in Leo. We know that the moon and Libra, like we've got some of these, a lot of water, fire, fire, fire. What do we think maybe this day of rest is going to bring us?
My dogs are going nuts, so just continue on without me for a little bit and I'll weigh in.
He's like, please don't. For me, I think of that day of rest as well. It's a Monday, so that's always really good that it falls on a Monday, because then it's like, okay, this is maybe that opportunity to look at some of those lip service commitments, those false things, people yapping on Sunday, that Libra shift, those influences, those nudges, those whispers, those reputations. What is it that you've heard and how are you processing that information? So it's really going to be a good day for just process that information. And so then it brings us full circle to Tuesday. And then it looks like we'll have a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes to assess any questions, or for those of you asking things that you want to look further into. Let's get all the way to Tuesday. There's only one thing happening, and it's not a big thing, but it is relevant. It's another moon movement. You guys, like we said, Matt mentioned, the moon is moving faster than anything. So those movements might be quick. You may not even notice them. But if you can, or you are tracking movements and intuitive things, the moon waxing into Scorpio, that's a water sign. And I think poison, poison, poison. Matt, what do you say about the moon waxing into Scorpio?
Yeah, I would say, so you're going from that more diplomatic energy to, Scorpio it's intense, but I always say it's a great poker face. So what's going on with that intensity isn't necessarily obvious. And so you're going from, I would say, much more, I shouldn't say much more, because Libra is diplomatic, but trying to get others to do things. Scorpio isn't necessarily direct either in how it does things. It's just, I always go with the water analogy out of the three. If, if Cancer is like the ocean, Pisces might be like a lake, and Scorpio is like a river that has the currents underneath. So where you see the water going on the top isn't necessarily what the water is doing underneath. And so, I feel this is like emotional intensity, but it's not going to be obvious. This is all going to be under the surface. They're great at not that poker face thing. They're great at not showing what's going on.
And I think that really speaks to, when I think of a scorpion, you think, man, is it gonna pinch you, or is it gonna poke you? Is it gonna get you? Is it gonna, you don't know. It's really hard to track it. It's hard to know for certain. So when I think of just how that energy works and moves, feelings, menstrual cycles, tides of emotions, not being entirely sure what those intense feelings might be after, this is falling on a Tuesday. So it's like a Taco Tuesday. It's a complete week from today after kind of a wild week of major transformation and just processing that information and some people lying on you and reputations. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. I wonder how that's going to go down. What do you think when looking back over the week, your predictions? What do you think, Matt? What do you have to say for it?
Friday's the big day to look for. Whatever happens Friday, pay the most attention to. That's the most significant stuff. And then just for personal, I'd be very wary on verbal commitments from people on Sunday. Definitely a verify and follow through, because people are going to say they're going to do things that they're not.
Broken commitment.
Samantha said the video lagged and stopped, so let us know if anyone else is having issues. It's still flying through on our end, so
yeah, it still shows
if
okay.
it's frozen for everybody, let us know. Sometimes it'll just freeze on certain spots due to bandwidth and things.
I don't know if that's YouTube or StreamYard, but it could be all the different things.
It's doing weird stuff all day today. At least on my end, it has been.
Solar flares. Okay, guys. Questions. We have got 5 more minutes until the end of the show. Talk to me about what you would like to ask. Solar flares.
Or we'll do a
Here
card.
I am with you.
Or we'll pull cards if you got cards.
Yeah,
You got
I've
cards?
always
I
got
got
my
cards.
cards with me. I've always got a deck of cards with me. You just let me know. You just let me know.
Question or card requests. We will see what we got.
Yeah, if somebody wants a card. I've got my tarot deck, my Tarot del Toro deck. Sometimes it's just kind of fun to pull one and see what we get. Katie says, I'm going to like and share and then going to snooze for the evening. Such a great live show. Thank you. Love the show. Thank you, Katie, for joining us. That's so nice to hear. That is nice to hear. Let's kind of, whoa, god dang, Louise.
Samantha will a card. All right, Samantha, think of whatever your question is. We'll pull them. We've had some good track records sometimes of pulling the same card, so you never know. We'll see. We don't do this in advance.
We don't do this in advance. Okay.
All right. I don't like my cards, so I'm sorry, Samantha. I don't know what your question is. 3 of Swords. The Heartbreak card. What'd you get?
10 of Swords.
10 of Swords. All right.
So we both have swords going on here, which I would say depicts some form of a debate or an argument or an unresolved issue, an airspace, reputation, discussions, conflicts going on. Something that's been stressful. And the 3, I always think of the third wheel, maybe even a subtle sickness. And then the 10, I think of, hopefully coming to resolution. What about you, Matt?
I try to summarize them quickly. So I apologize, Samantha. I love when we pull great cards as opposed to these. I view the 3 of Swords as the heartbreak card and the 10 of Swords as the defeat card. So I take this as, I don't know what your question was. You don't have to reveal your question to us.
Yeah.
But I feel like the answer is no, and it'll be emotionally hurtful. So I hope I'm wrong.
All right, Chet. I think tarot, both Matt and I love, we both speak that language, and I love to do cards for it. So Rhonda has said, man, I'd love a card. Let's pull one for Rhonda.
And Ruth, go ahead. Try to ask it. Well, if we can answer it, we will. Dolly, happy to have you on. All right. I got Empress.
I got the Knight of Wands.
Okay.
Which it's a crazy deck.
So yeah, mine's steampunk, so mine's a little different. Empress, nurturing, is kind of the mom energy card. So yeah, think of maternal energy, nurturing. Sometimes can be if people are asking questions about, children or things along those lines. It can indicate those types of things, but it's maternal energy. And then you have the 9 of Wands.
No, when I think of the 9, I think of anticipation, almost there. The Knight is that masculine forward. He's going out, he's riding that mantis, he's going to do the things, and it is going to be action. It's going to be power. And Wands is a suit of action and power, which essentially is whatever it is that you're doing. you're going to be able to triumph and conquer and be able to overcome. So that is, I think, always a very powerful message through that card. And the Empress, I think of power, mother, maternal, grandmother, ancestors, all sorts of kind of cool lineage things. So kind of fun. I like that. Ruth, you don't have to ever say it out loud.
I'll give my answer, but I guess I feel like Sarah and I probably have a little bit of a different view on these things. There's a lot going on in the world, so I wouldn't be surprised if, our military is getting ready for things. I don't think that necessarily means that there is something up, but obviously tensions are high in China. Russia certainly keeps making noise that they could expand, but I don't think they're in a position to be able to do much more than what they're already doing at this point. But we got to be prepared. We got to be ready. So I think that's partially what's going on. I personally feel there's a lot of fear mongering going on, a lot of things just to get people riled up. So I wouldn't get too. It's one of these things. Be alert, but I wouldn't panic or lose sleep.
Yeah, don't lose sleep over it. Don't get too worried. We've got until really, I wouldn't say till June 2027 until the world ends. When people ask me when the prediction of the world ends, it's June 2027.
Is that the one? I always say whenever Pluto goes direct, or whenever Pluto goes into Aquarius and then Neptune goes into Aries. So that's June 2027?
I believe.
Yeah.
I believe we're talking about the same night near time.
That's when it all goes to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Which, just so you know, even for our country, the Revolutionary War was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, and the Civil War was the last time Uranus was in Aries. And so we get them both together, combined in like 3 years. So 4 years.
Crazy. Okay, one last poll here as we finish up. Dolly has a question. So any of you guys, let's just go ahead and formulate. If we didn't get to you, go ahead and add your thoughts with Dolly as we pull a card for you. Ooh.
Or did Dolly want a card, or did she have a question? I wasn't sure. We'll pull a card.
We'll pull a card, though.
If she's got a question, she can go ahead and type that in.
Gosh, dang it. What'd you get?
Oh, I don't mind this one.
What is it?
High Priestess. Which is funny. I find this interesting because we were pulling cards for each other, and if you remember, the combo you pulled for me had Empress and High Priestess as two of the main ones.
The same cards are coming up. I have the Knight of Swords, which he's kind of a cool looking dude, riding the pale horse. The Knight of Air. Ooh. Man, talking about going into an argument or a conflict, it really says that you are going to be able to triumph over it, that you might be fighting with somebody who is very, very capable, but it looks like they might be on your side. You can see that person going in with all the tools of the trade. If you're going to have a fighter go in, David and Goliath, you want to have the best of the best. You want to have that soldier, and this would suggest that you are prepared. So you're prepared for battle, whatever that might entail. What about yours, Matt?
And High Priestess, I always go to intuition. So I would say if you're going into battle, trust your intuition. That's how I'd read those two cards.
Oof. Man, guys, it sounds like we're all going through some major change and dealing with stuff. And I would just say, if you guys have any questions or you feel like you need any additional guidance, don't ever hesitate to reach out, whether it's on the Astrology and Alchemy social media, the Alchemy spaces that we have through the Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and put Matt's email as well as where you can find us personally. And then anything else I'm forgetting, let me know.
I think you got it. All right.
All right.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk soon.